In the year 533 AD, the most powerful empire on earth stood at the edge of annihilation, not from barbarian hordes, not from plague or famine, but from the ambition of a single man. His name was Belisarius. History remembers him as Rome's greatest general, but what history forgot is how his brilliance nearly destroyed everything he swore to protect. This is the story of how one man's genius became an empire's curse, how victory became poison, and how the very qualities that saved Rome condemned it to centuries of darkness. Constantinople, 527 AD, the Byzantine Empire, the last remnant of Rome, controls the Mediterranean. Its capital is the richest city in the world. 1 million people live behind walls that have never fallen. Emperor Justinian has a dream: restore the glory of ancient Rome, reconquer the lost western provinces, Italy, Spain, North Africa, rebuild an empire that collapsed 50 years before he was born. But dreams require armies, and armies require generals. Justinian has only one man capable of achieving the impossible: Belisarius, 25 years old, a peasant from Thrace who became a legend, the last true Roman general. Some called him a genius, others called him a monster. He was both. In 530 AD, Belisarius defeats a massive Persian army at Dara with only 25,000 men. He uses tactics not seen since Julius Caesar: feigned retreats, psychological warfare, total annihilation. Justinian seizes opportunity. He gives Belisarius an impossible mission: reconquer North Africa from the Vandals. With just 15,000 soldiers, every advisor says it's suicide. Belisarius accepts immediately. He doesn't know he's just made the worst decision in Roman history. September 533, Belisarius' fleet lands near Carthage. The Vandal kingdom has ruled North Africa for a century. They destroyed Roman armies before. They're confident they shouldn't be. At the Battle of Ad Decimum, Belisarius destroys the Vandal army in 4 hours. Not through superior numbers, he's outnumbered, but through something more dangerous: perfect timing, precision, ruthlessness. The Vandal king flees into the mountains. Within 3 months, an entire kingdom ceases to exist. Belisarius captures the royal treasury tin. Tons of gold, enough wealth to fund Rome for a decade. Justinian is ecstatic. He orders Belisarius to continue. Next target: Italy, the Ostrogothic kingdom. Another impossible mission. But something has changed in Belisarius. The African campaign taught him a terrible lesson. He's unstoppable, and when a general believes he's invincible, empires tremble. 536 AD, Belisarius invades Italy with just 7,500 men. His orders: conquer the entire peninsula, restore Roman rule. It seems impossible. The Ostrogoths have 100,000 warriors. They've ruled Italy for 60 years. Their king laughs at Byzantine arrogance. He stops laughing when Belisarius takes Sicily in 3 weeks without losing a single soldier. Naples, Rome, Ravenna. Cities fall like domino pieces. Belisarius doesn't fight fair. He bribes, assassinates, spreads terror, uses starvation as a weapon. At the siege of Rome in 537, he holds the city with 5,000 men against 150,000 Goths. For an entire year, he turns aqueducts into death traps, burns supply convoys, executes prisoners in sight of enemy lines. He wins, but Italy begins to die. The Gothic historian Procopius, who travels with Belisarius, writes something chilling in his secret history. Belisarius conquers, not for Rome's glory, but for his own. The cities he captures become tombs. He is not a general, he is a plague. By 540, Belisarius controls all of Italy. The Gothic kingdom is destroyed. Justinian celebrates. Rome is restored. But Belisarius has just triggered something catastrophic, something that will kill millions. Here's what the history books don't tell you. Belisarius' Italian campaign doesn't restore Rome. It destroys it forever. Before Belisarius, Italy has 5 million people. 20 years later, 1 million. 80% of the population is gone. The Gothic War devastates every city Belisarius liberates. Rome itself, once a city of 1 million, drops to 30,000 inhabitants. The aqueducts Belisarius cuts during sieges never get repaired. The trade networks he disrupts never recover. Italy enters a dark age that lasts 500 years. Life expectancy drops from 45 to 30. Literacy collapses. Diseases spread through ruined cities. But the real catastrophe isn't military. It's economic. Belisarius' wars cost 320,000 pounds of gold. The entire imperial treasury. Justinian raises taxes 400%. Provinces rebel. The empire begins to cannibalize itself. In 542, the plague of Justinian arrives, possibly spread by Belisarius's armies, moving between continents. It kills 25 million people across the Mediterranean. Half the empire's population dies, and he's not done conquering. Asterisk, 545 AD, Italy is in ruins. The treasury is empty, millions are dead. Justinian orders Belisarius to stop. He refuses. Belisarius launches new campaigns. Persia, the Balkans, Spain. He's addicted to victory, but now he's fighting with broken armies, no supplies, and exhausted soldiers. For the first time, he starts losing. In 548, the Goths retake most of Italy. Everything Belisarius won gone, but the damage is permanent. Back in Constantinople, Justinian realizes his mistake. Belisarius isn't a hero. He's a catastrophe with a sword. The emperor recalls him permanently in 549, but the pattern Belisarius created continues. Future Byzantine emperors keep launching wars they can't afford. Reconquest becomes doctrine. Expansion becomes addiction. The empire never recovers economically. The constant warfare creates permanent enemies. Slavs invade the Balkans. Persians push into Syria. Arabs conquer everything east of Constantinople. By 650 AD, just 100 years after Belisarius the Byzantine Empire has lost 2/3 of its territory. The Mediterranean, once a Roman lake, becomes a battlefield for centuries. Historians call it the crisis of the 7th century. But the crisis starts with Belisarius. His wars created the blueprint for imperial suicide. Who was Belisarius really? Byzantine propaganda portrays him as a loyal hero, but the evidence suggests something darker. Procopius's secret history, hidden for centuries, reveals a man consumed by ambition. Belisarius hoards conquered wealth, executes rivals on false charges, rules occupied territories like a king. His personal palace in Constantinople has 500 rooms. He owns estates across the empire. He maintains a private army loyal only to him. Justinian fears Belisarius might overthrow him. The general has the armies, the popularity, the wealth. In 562, Justinian accuses Belisarius of conspiracy. The charge is probably false, but it doesn't matter. The general is placed under house arrest, stripped of honors, his property seized. The legend says Justinian blinds Belisarius and forces him to beg in the streets. That's probably fiction, but the truth is worse. Belisarius dies in 565, forgotten and disgraced. 8 months later, Justinian dies. Within a generation, everything they built collapses. The wars of Belisarius and Justinian, 30 years of fighting, 10 million dead, 300,000 pounds of gold spent, 70% of reconquered territory lost within 50 years. The greatest general in Roman history accomplished nothing permanent, except destruction. Asterisk, what if Belisarius had never been born? It's the question historians asked. Would Rome have survived? Probably not forever, but the collapse would have been slower, gentler. Italy might have transitioned peacefully to Gothic rule, like Spain under the Visigoths. The plague might have been contained. Constantinople might have remained prosperous. Instead, Belisarius's wars create a vacuum. They destroy established kingdoms without replacing them with anything stable. Italy becomes a battlefield for 300 years. The Mediterranean descends into chaos. The Lombards invade Italy in 568, just 3 years after Belisarius dies. They conquer everything he fought for. But now there's no infrastructure left to support civilization. No cities, no economy, no institutions. Medieval Europe here, Dark Ages is partially Belisarius's creation. The general who tried to restore Rome instead guaranteed its permanent death. The pattern repeats throughout history. Military genius without strategic wisdom. Victory without purpose. Conquest without consolidation. Napoleon in Russia. Hitler in the Soviet Union. America in Vietnam and Afghanistan. Belisarius's lesson goes unlearned. Winning battles means nothing if you destroy what you're fighting for. Today, statues of Belisarius stand in Istanbul and Sofia. Tourists take photos, but they don't know the real story. These ruins in North Africa where we began were once thriving. Roman cities, Carthage, Lepsus, Magna, Sabratha. Belisarius conquered them in 533 AD. They never recovered. Today, wind and sand are reclaiming them. In 1,000 years, they'll be completely gone. There's an inscription here, carved by Belisarius's soldiers after their victory. It reads, "We restored Rome's glory." But there is no glory here. Only silence, only dust, only the consequence of one man's ambition. Belisarius didn't destroy the empire with incompetence. He destroyed it with brilliance. That's what makes his story terrifying. The greatest danger to civilization isn't weakness, it's strength without wisdom. One general, 30 years, an empire's death, and the dark ages that followed, lasted 1,000 years. History remembers Belisarius as a hero, but history is written by empires, not their victims. The millions who died in his wars have no voice. The civilizations he destroyed left no records. Only the stones remember, and they tell a different story. How does one man destroy an empire? Not with treason, not with cowardice, but with exactly what empires celebrate most: victory.